All right, we are back with our full Journey of Discovery set review. I am joined, of course, by the lovely, the one, the only Travis Rudrose Pfeiffer. Travis, how are you doing?
Hey, Daniel, thank you for having me on here, sir. I appreciate it. Always fun to talk some cardboard.
All right, so we've already done the Legacy Full Arts and the Fire. Let's go ahead and start with let's cool off with some ice. We have
Excellent.
we're starting off with Ish. This is one of our heroes. So she is from Brave Exvius. She is a Kingdom of Elmont soldier, but don't worry, they gave her warrior just in case. When she enters the field, or a warrior, or a card name warrior enters your field, choose a forward opponent controls, dull it and freeze it. And when she enters the field, reveal the top three cards of your deck, add a warrior or a card name warrior from among them to your hand, or put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. Um, so this is just Laswell at home, right? Like it's
Right? Yeah.
they kind of like copied Laswell's homework and they said, well, we don't want her to have too much synergy with Axstar, so let's have her like have this conditional draw and not be playable off of Axstar or off of
Right.
Typhus. And so she seems really annoying. Like warriors are already such a good deck. Fire Ice Warriors are a deck that's kind of playable on the fringes of the meta. It won a Materia Cup and then proceeded to completely bust her out of every one of the national events except for maybe Europe, which is probably ongoing as we speak. Or I mean, it's starting soon. But like, Fire Ice Warriors was already kind of a deck, and then randomly this set we're getting a bunch of Ice Warrior support. That said, this is not Laswell. In any
Yes.
way, shape, or form. Dulling and freezing forwards is so different from hitting backups that it's, night and day.
Ah,
And
I see what you did there.
um, the entry effect like reveal the top three at a warrior. Usually, a lot of these warrior decks are not very dense with warriors. They're usually the three Tyvis, the three Axstar, two Mogs, three Furians, and like a ward or two. It's like 12 warriors. She's not going to hit that often. Like, even if you run three of it, you get to what 15 warriors. Maybe you run like a couple of Naji, 17. But like,
Yeah.
gosh, if she whiffs on that play, you're going to feel so bad. So like you have to
Yeah.
like
Reveal
go,
three is much less than reveal five, too.
yeah. It's I don't know what the math has to be on this, but like it doesn't feel very good. To like think of like all the times your opponent is playing like minor, which has a deck with 18 backups in whiff.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is revealing fewer cards, and like I don't think you're getting that much above 18 to 20 warriors in most of these fire ice decks as they are. So like I
Yeah.
guess you have to like go even harder on the warrior stuff, and like is that really worth it? Is that like I don't know. I think like she's definitely solid. It's kind of neat that like with her and Axstar, you're probably gonna dull freeze literally everything, but also like
Right.
you still have a bit of a nombo there though, because you can't play her before you play the Axstar probably, because then the Axstar is gonna dull freeze her too, and you're gonna lose out on one of your
Yeah.
attackers. So, like I don't think this card needed to be printed, but I also really think there's enough guardrails that I don't expect her to be broken. She might see some play though.
Yeah. I agree fully.
Up next, we have Alone from FF8, Job Girl, everybody's favorite job. She's a backup. You can tap and remove her from the game to choose a forward category 8 forward you control. Gains 2,000 power, and when this forward attacks, you draw a card. This effect does not end at the end of the turn. You can only use this ability during your turn. I'll let you talk on this one a little bit. What do you
Is
think?
this our first alone, or was there another one?
This is our first Alone.
That's what I thought. It's crazy they took this long to bring her into the game because she's a pretty prominent character in FF8. Also, this art is very funny. It looks like she's on like the cover of a magazine. Um, I mean, obviously, I love the eight synergy. It's cool that it doesn't end at the end of the turn. Man, I hate that you have to remove her from the game though. Like, I almost wish it was more like the Tataru effect in Scions. Like, as long as you get a big enough eight board, maybe it's only till that turn, but you can use it repeatedly. So like I don't like that for paying two, she doesn't do anything immediately. But obviously, if you can get that forward to stick around, draw every attack plus 2k power sounds really good, especially if it's on a big beefy Laguna or Squall or something that also has another on attack trigger. But just yeah, I just wish she stuck around. I hate that she has to get rid of herself.
Yeah, that'd be kind of neat. Like, yeah, if you have five Cat 8 characters, choose a Cat 8 forward you control, get you it gains this tax till end of turn. That would be neat.
Yeah.
my big question is like, how often is the forward you're gonna buff going to stick around? And like,
Yeah.
because like if you think about what this does, you pay 2 to get Alone into play, and then you sack her, so you're not using her for CP, and then you're drawing a card, which is getting back the 2 that you put into the Alone to begin with.
Yeah.
Which
Assuming it can attack. If they can, before it attacks, go, okay, well, in response, blah, get rid of it. Then you paid 3 for nothing.
Yeah, like the buff is good. 2K that gets like Cipher out of a Mott range if you don't have any other buffing effects on him. Maybe you protect
Hmm.
like an Adia, make her bigger. Squall, the bigger Squall gets, the better that card gets. Some people pointed out there is that like old Opus 18 Gilgamesh legend that like can attack twice at damage 3.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I like that card in a Cat 8 deck just because like you're on like 3 elements. I don't think that like kill a 3 cost is really worth it, but I sort of understand where they're coming from with it. Like it's really close. And to be fair, one of the biggest things about this card is actually just the category. It's a 2 cost category 8 backup, and there's just not many of
Sure.
those. Previously, like
With a
category 8
unique
decks,
name. Yeah.
yeah, category 8 decks before this were like playing Esthar Soldier, and like I think
Right.
this is funny. Hobby Japan put out an official like hey, our playtesters have been playing these decks, and something we wanted to do to kind of build hype for the set. They're actually sharing like playtest decks. Like these are what our playtesters were playing,
Oh,
and
okay.
one of them is the first one they've shown is this Category 8 deck, and there's still that one copy of Estar Soldier in this deck, and you're just like, bro thinks he's on the team.
Right.
um, but like just having that is going to be valuable.
Yeah.
And I guess like if you run 3 of her, maybe it is just nice. Like there's something to do with extra copies of her. You sack the one, give something the ability to draw, replace herself with the draw. You ditch the drawed card, you play the next Alone down or something. Like maybe that's just good
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, the remove herself from the game, that's a little bit annoying as well because like there's so many Cat 8 synergies that are about like number of cards in the break zone.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't really gotten that deep into Cat 8. It's been a long time since I was a kid and got like relatively deep into it, so I actually don't remember this character very well.
Mm.
I know that like she does like some stuff with like memories and time. Maybe they're trying to represent that. I know like a lot of times like removed from game is like kind of this like
Yeah.
forgetfulness thing. Like they're kind of like trying to play into that for flavor reasons, but it does definitely like hurt the feeling of like the Cat 8 deck to be like, yeah, also one fewer card in your break zone because if she doesn't go there when she
Right.
attacks herself. So, and like let's be real, nothing was going to loop her and be a problem by looping her. So,
Yeah.
she's like I said, I think she's going to be useful mostly for just the category and the lack of a name clash and anything else. Which maybe that's good enough.
Yeah. Maybe.
Up next, we have Ilmatel, who is from Brave Exvius. She is another Kingdom of Elmont soldier, but she's a mage. She's not a warrior. You wouldn't know that by reading her text, though. When she's chosen by your opponent's ability, your opponent discards a card. The Job Warrior and Card Name Warrior control gain when this forward is chosen by your opponent's ability. Your opponent discards a card. And then on damage 3, she becomes a 9,000 power forward. This one's like really, really interesting. So she's not a warrior herself, which is a problem. You can't search her with Tyvis. You can't play her with Tyvis. But like that is really annoying protection, right? Like we talked about how like
Hmm.
Star Sybil last set was a card that like we kind of hoped was better than she was. And there's definitely a world where like you just play like Tyvis into Axstar deploy this. Axstar still gets the kill that he wants anyway, and now your
Yeah.
whole field gets this like revenge trigger. Um, it's something that's kind of funny and kind of neat. I don't know if this is good or not, but let's say that you do target Tyvis, and they say, okay, well you have to discard a card. That trigger comes from Tyvis, not from her. So she actually doesn't die to like Amat the same way.
Oh, you're right. It gives them the ability.
So I don't know if that's an
Interesting.
upside or a downside, but it does mean that like if you do go to kill Tyvis, target him to kill him, he's the one triggering it. So she doesn't die to the Amat, and she still sticks around and gives the protection moving forward. Um, that's kind of neat. The other thing that I noticed, there's no once per turn on this. So if your opponent
Yeah.
goes for like a Ferris play and like has to clear your field with Ferris, they're gonna feel really, really, really bad. Yeah, because it's like a bunch of like very small pings. Um, yeah, I think there's just enough here to be good. Like for a common, this is the most text they've ever printed on a common, by the way.
Yeah.
um, so I imagine she'll see some play. I do wonder how often though she's just gonna read like, why are you not just playing, Undead Princess from last set? Enter your opponent
Yeah.
discards or something, right? Is this that much better than that? Especially if they go to kill you with a summon, you're gonna feel really stupid because you don't get anything from that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think she's neat. We'll see how good she ends up actually being.
Agreed. Yeah, there's been cards like that in the past that like, hey, when you target me, you have to discard, but I don't recall any of them ever seen like really super prominent. And a lot of times for reasons just like that. Whoops, they always happen to have that summon, or they just have some way that just makes it not matter.
Yeah, or they just go empty-handed beforehand, I guess. But like, I guess the win
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
you though if they have to go empty-handed. I don't know. I mean, of the warriors in ice, the only one that I'm sure of is this one. This is Call from Brave Exvius.
Yeah.
Very simple text. Tap and sack them, choose a warrior in your break zone, add it to your hand. Immediately a 2 or 3 of in every Fire Ice Warrior deck. Searchable with Tyvis, so you can get your ice
Yeah.
backup if you've already got like your Mog in hand. And something that deck didn't have very good access to actually is recursion. Like if your Tyvis dies, if you're not on like Shantoto, it's very hard to get those cards back. And a lot of those lists are not on Shantoto because space is so tight. So it's like an in-engine way of like getting them back. Another thing that's kind of really strong, Mog 6. I find like the first Mog 6 is not necessarily backbreaking. The second Mog 6 though, like
Yeah.
when they go like, all right, fine, here's the Tyro, you can sack the Mog, whatever, and then you go, okay, well we're gonna play the next Mog 6. You go, oh son of a gun, are you kidding me? So like maybe that's the use is just like loop Mog with him over and over again. But yeah, he'll definitely see some play. It's just really good upside on his UCP backup to have this.
Well, and notably, one thing that's always kind of perplexed me about some of the FF cards is that there's no restriction on this, right? We just saw the alone. The alone is restricted to your turn for some reason. I don't think that would have been broken if you used it as a combat trick on their turn. Not this guy though. You use it at the end of their main phase 2 in the middle of their combat in response to a Mist Dragon they have. Like, yeah, there's a pure freedom on when you want to use that effect.
Yeah, he can technically even pick himself up. Like there's no restriction on that. Not that like it's like broken to pick himself up, like another copy of
Yeah.
himself. But like it also does have Dragoons do this a lot actually. Dragoons are a really powerful deck right now, and one of the reasons why is the old Opus 12 Dragoon backup. That's like you just sack it and you pick up any Dragoon in your break zone.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a backup that you can just sacrifice to make 2 CP instead of 1. And Call
Yeah.
kind of does that. Like you can just make 2 CP with him at some point if you really need to. If you don't need the card you want back, maybe you just want to get
Yeah.
this mod off and you just don't have enough. Call will get you there. So, uh, just a good card. Yeah. Very weird to see this like so little restrictions on him for sure. Um, we have Bard. This is our standard unit in the multi-element checking cycle. So 3 costs from category 5. When it enters the field, choose a forward, dull freeze it. When it enters the field, choose a backup. If you have a multi-element forward, dull freeze it. Uh, I
Seems
don't
pretty
think.
solid for these.
Yeah. Like, as far as these go, like it's fine. But like, I always think of like the old Time Mage, like a 2 cost forward that like does a pretty similar thing. If you have 2 standard unit backups, you get
Yeah.
like dull freeze a forward and a backup. Like that was actually like a pretty decent card. I don't think that like dull freeze a backup, dull freeze a forward for 3 CP is like super exciting these days, even
Yeah,
without the
for
extra
sure.
restriction on it. So, um, like I said, we'll be nice and limited. These like little dull freezes always do add up there, but I don't think anywhere else. Bard we have with the crazy ass bow. um,
The guitar bow, the rocker bow.
so this is from FF14, 1 cost, standard unit. If you cast it, you can pay Earth and 2 as an extra cost. When it enters the field, choose a dull forward. If you pay the extra cost, break it. It's kind of funny because like that's meant to be like the Earth text, but like it's like
Yeah.
it could just be an ice card at this point. But again, like if you think about it on rate, it's like a 2 CP summon that breaks a dull forward. Like it's like not terrible, but like also if you think about it at the same time, it's a 5 CP backup to break a dull forward. That is actually kind of terrible. So
Yeah, absolutely.
um, there's not really any. There's no bard synergies. There's no bard tribal. There's no reason to play
No.
bards. So I think compared to the samurai, I think this one is a lot worse. Even though it's an element combination that's a lot better.
Yeah.
Clara. This is the last of her ice warriors. So Cat 11. She's a warrior and a Mithril musketeer. When she enters the field, choose 2 characters, dull them. If you control 3 or more warriors or card name warriors, also freeze them. So this reminds me a lot of actually Quistis from FF8, the Opus 22 one, where it's like choose any number of characters up to the number of FF8 characters you control,
Yeah.
dull them, and then if you have 3 or more, you freeze them as well. And that card was actually decently powerful and annoying in the context of the way that FF8 played. But she also cost 3 and you could play for free a lot of the time. I really don't know that I would pay 4 to get half of that effect ever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I really don't see it. Like, it could work. It could be like that. Like, if you're like a really aggro warrior deck, it could be like that last little bit of stunning you need to win the game. But like, there's so many better cards that could do this. And again, it's a 4 cost. Can't be played with Tyvis. Can't be played with Axstar. Plays really poorly with
Hmm.
Axstar, which is one of the big reasons to be a Fire Ice warrior. I really don't think this card is very good.
Yeah, I agree.
Look who's back, by the way, off the ban list.
Yes,
We
who's
have
back?
we have Gesper from Mobius in Category 8. Uh, he is a monster war machine. When Gesper enters the field, choose 2 forwards, dull and freeze them. And then for an ice and sacking him, you choose a dull forward and break it. So, like, it's clearly not very good. Like, it's, if you think about, like, it's, on your turn, you play this, you dull freeze 2 forwards. Maybe the next turn you pay ice and sack this and kill one of them. I think it's better than the others in the cycle by a long shot. Like, I think about, like, there's
Yeah,
the really old Shiva summon you can only cast in your turn that dull freezes 3 forwards. It's kind of like that with
yeah,
like a little
Opus
bit of
8-1.
upside.
God, I love that summon.
And, like, that card is like honestly not that far off playable, and maybe that means that Gesper isn't that far off playable. Someone pointed out that like there are a decent number of characters that care about having Category 8 cards in play. There's a new legend in this set that cares about having a certain number of Cat 8 cards. Zell cares
Yeah,
about them. If you're on like something like Eden, Eden cares about number of Cat 8 characters. Gesper could reduce the cost of that. So if you're just trying to like pump your Cat 8 cost, your character count, maybe, but I do have to think there's better cards than this to play most of the time. But compared to some of the absolute trash this set in the monster slots,
yeah.
like, yeah, and it is funny that like
It's ultimate.
Gesper's was banned for years and years and years now, and then he comes. This is the second Gesper card ever, and it's like very clearly not meant for constructed play.
Yeah. It's ultimately too expensive, but I do like the way it plays into itself that, like you said, come in, you freeze them one turn, you wait a whole turn before they untap. That's when you hit them with the break effect. And again, there's no restrictions. So, like, you could use it. Okay, I'm attacking with this forward. Okay, well, it's dull now, so now I'll respond with the Gesper and break it. So, but like I said, compared to the others, he's at least I see there's at least an idea here.
Yeah, and there is. I mean, like that play pattern has been good in other card games. I know in Magic, one of the best 2 drops in the game is Flood Pitch Drowner in
Yeah.
Demir, but like that card has flash, so that's like a big
Yeah,
difference in one of the
exactly.
reasons that card is so good. That's the exact issue with Gesper. But like
Yeah.
I said, this is miles better than the other ones are. Like
Right.
I could see this one actually seeing play. The other ones there's zero chance. Okay, so this is my favorite
Kafka.
card of the whole set.
Oh
Um,
wow. All right. High praise.
I'm gonna give you that little mini spoiler. So this is Kefka. He costs 8. He's from Category 6. He's a mage. He has an alternate casting cost though, so you don't have to pay 8 for him. You could pay Ice, Earth, and Lightning instead of paying the CP cost to cast him. You can only pay that cost with backups. When Kefka enters the field due to your cast, choose a forward your opponent controls, and up to 1 backup in your break zone with a cost equal to or less than that forward. Break the former, play the latter to the field. So, like, the lore on this card is so good. The ultimate casting cost is the Warring Triad. If he has the Warring Triad, you get to play him for
Yeah.
free or for cheaper. And then he chooses one of your opponent's things and turns them into Magicite. It's the coolest thing. Um,
Shouldn't it be, since the demon was shouldn't it be fire, wind, and water? Because that was what the Warring Triad was, right? When we
yeah, but they
brought him
wanted to
to
push a different color
FFTCG.
combination. We're just gonna ignore that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yes, it should be fire, wind, and water by that. But like that also would put it in like a weird color thing where it's like an ice card that would not be played in an ice deck, and also would start being poached by Warrior of Light decks. We're gonna ignore the fact that like it's meant to be the Warring Triad, and it's the exact opposite of the Warring Triad colors. Maybe that's him
Right.
disrupting the Warring Triad. They're not what they normally are because of him. I don't
Yeah.
know. This is the coolest damn card in the entire set, though. Like, it's so cool, and the way it's even changed how I think about some backups. Um, one of my favorite cards I'm really experimenting with this is Star Sybil. Because Star Sybil is a card, the conventional logic is it's kind of slow. Like you don't necessarily want to play Star
Right.
Sybil, but something that's really like important with Kefka is you kind of want backups that are breakable and do cool, big, powerful things. And Star Sybil is a 5 cost backup that searches on entry. It searches the Ice, uh, Earth, Prish, the legend, and adds it to your hand, which gives you like good value. And you can sack it like to do to make 6 CP later on and play a forward from your hand for free. So you can just do that over and over again. And there's a lot of really good 5 cost cards in the meta currently. You talk about like Tyvis, Karilla. All these cards are just like you do that and you bring this back. And then like some of the other backups I'm looking at are cards I haven't considered in the deck ever. Those bounce backups from Opus 16 that like bounce themselves to your hand for tapping them.
Hmm.
Um, those are really good with this card because then you play them, you get a backup, and then if you don't want the backup anymore, or you have another Kefka you want to play, and this one dies, you can just bounce it back to your hand, and now you have you drew a card with Kefka instead of doing that. And even
Yeah.
at its baseline, of like kill a forward, don't get a backup because I have 5 backups in play. That's still a pretty like 3 CP kill anything is really good. I love this card. I think the flavor is beautiful. It's like perfect. I think the cards making me consider is perfect. There's not a card that like plays big expensive backups. Like I'm like, ooh, can I sneak Une into play now? And now in my like my Earth, Ice Lightning deck, I can play Une, and maybe I can start like flickering Man in Black with Une now. And like, there's so many cool things I've like been experimenting with this that I haven't been able to experiment with any other card in the game. And it's so unique. There's nothing that resurrects backups based on any cost. I
Yeah.
love it. I love everything about this card.
Well, since you're so high on it, the only thing I'll add to that is actually a question for you. That would you ever want to pay 8 for this? And if so, how much value are you looking to get back if you have to pay a full 8 as opposed to the reduced cost?
I mean, like, if you think about, like, I'm going to pay 8, I'm going to kill a Ramsa and get back Une, I got my value back.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the high end, obviously. That
But,
sounds
like,
like what if you killed like a 4 cost and brought back a 4 cost back? Like, is that enough for you, or do you want something a little higher than that? Or
I think people say, like, well, you have to pay the alternate cost. I think if I'm killing a 5 cost, I'm pretty happy with it.
gotcha.
You
Okay.
kill Tyvis, you play Rydia, you play Star Sybil, you play Tyro, like any of those. If you think about what you did there, you basically you pay them for 3. You just also played a backup for free at the same time, right?
Oh sure, yeah,
At 4, how happy am I with 4? Like I kill Warrior of Light or something. I get back. What's like the best 4 cost backup? I get like a
yeah. I
Larsa
don't know.
and like search another. Like it's like Larsa's a bad example because it's in the wrong colors. But like I search a 4 cost thing that draws me a card. Feels a little bit less good for sure. Like I can still see a world where I'm okay with it. But like I think like if I'm getting killing a 5 cost forward and getting a 5 cost backup, I think I'm okay paying a full 8 for this almost.
Yeah.
And like if you think about
I
like
was
the 3
curious.
cost, like he's living through Amaterasu, like you're still getting a 9K
Yeah.
body, which in Ice is at a premium. I guess like Earth, if you're in this actual tricolor wedge, you don't maybe like the Earth cards aren't doing that, but like still like it does a lot. Like it really does. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I love this card. In the art is cool. It's like the best Kefka's ever looked at a mono art. It's like
Yeah. He looks
ah
very sinister here, which I really like.
yeah. It's so cool. I love this card. And going from one card to another, this is Seymour.
Battery low.
This is another one of our heroes. Category 10. When Seymour enters the field or attacks you may pay 1. When you do so, you may select up to 2 of the following 4. You either get to choose a dull forward and break it, choose 2 characters, dull them and freeze them. During this turn, the cost required to cast your next summon is reduced by 4, or your opponent discards 1 card. I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, as a ice lover, this card seems cracked. Like, how did I miss this originally when I was skimming through these? I didn't realize you got 2 of the effects. So, any dull forward, break it. Double dull freeze on characters so you can hit their backups. Discard your favorite line of text. Obviously, so it's 6 up front to do that the first time, but man, if he sticks around and he's attacking and now you're just paying 1, those are really strong triggers to get over and over and over again. The summon, I'm not sure what your summon is, but it's not restricted to ice summons. If you're playing this in Ice Earth, free Mist Dragon, or you're playing it in Fire, free Amaterasu. I don't know why when it would trigger. They're even free Kusith, like, and it can become 0. So like, Dude, if there's something wrong with this card, you got to tell me because this dude reads ridiculous. Like I would have loved to have an ice card like this back in the day.
The wrong thing is the art. He looks really stupid.
Yes, yes, the art is dumb.
um, no, I I think the only thing that's really a question on this card is what plays this, because like clearly the reason it's like five with a one kicker, beyond trying to make sure that you're not like doing this for free every turn, is to try to pull this away from decks that don't play backups. They don't want you to go like, turn one
Sure.
this and then like, like if this like just costs six, you would go second, play this next to a Rufus, and probably just like, be it would be awful. Like it would be the most frustrating
Yeah.
thing on the face of the planet.
Freeze those both backups, discard for Rufus, and I win.
Yeah. So like, how many backups do you need to play to make Seymour good? Is this like good in the Lufenian deck? Is this like a finisher for like? You think about like something like an Ice Earth deck. Historically they would play something like Phasalis as a control finisher, and like
Yeah.
Seymour seems like just a better version of that. It's even the job summoner matters a lot there, where now they get to search this with Rydia if they've already got their
Yeah.
Unalesca in play. The four cost summon, one of my favorite summons right now is Solera, which is it's an edict. Your opponent sacrifices a forward. You get to kind of declare a cost. They have to do it, and they discard a card. So you can still kind of get like the discard there, or like a double discard even. He kind of protects his own attack. If you need to like attack into a 10k, you can dull freeze the 10k
Hmm.
and like still get the attack trigger off. I don't love the maintenance cost. Like it's really annoying to pay one every single turn. Like that like can kind of mess with your curve, mess with your ability to do things. Like that's like still kind of iffy, but he really does a lot. I think the only other thing I don't love is the choose a dull forward and break it. I wish it was like after the choose two characters it says choose a forward.
I
If
was
it's
just
dull,
gonna
break
ask
it.
that because it resolves top to bottom, right? So
Well, you can't
so you
choose it
can't like
anyway.
freeze the characters. Oh, because it has to already be dull at
Yeah,
the
it has
time
to
of
be
the
dull
choosing. Yeah,
because
you're right.
when you activate this, all the modes are chosen, and when all the modes are chosen, you must also choose targets. So if the
Gotcha.
forward isn't dull, it's not a valid target, so you can't do it. Like that's not the end of the world, and something that I've actually even seen in playtesting is my opponent played Seymour and they really wanted to kill one of my forwards, so they just cast a free Shiva on the stack. Because you have to pay one, you don't technically choose your modes and targets until
Oh
afterwards.
yeah.
So we just got to dull freeze my thing for free, draw a card, and then like say, okay, pay one, dull freeze that or kill that, and then you discard a card. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. Yeah, no, like if he lives, or like if you stick him next to a goodness knows, if you stick this guy next to Rufus or something, like the game is
All right.
over. But
Sounds like we need to bring out old Ruggagene, old Seymour Ruggagene, baby.
like
Ghoul's like, please no, not that.
yeah, he reads really strong, so we'll
Yeah.
see. Up next we have Sid Alstein, Type Zero Grand Marshal. When he enters the field, choose a character, dull freeze it. Your opponent discards one card. It's funny to say that I don't think this card does enough, but I really just am not big on like one time play a forward, your opponent discards a card. Like I really
Yeah.
don't think it matters at the end of the day. Even in the most aggressive ice decks, like if you want to discard a card, you can just play Argath. Like for 2 CP, get this like super cheap forward that like makes them discard. And I don't think like the upside of like also dull freeze one character is enough to like make it like better than like an Argath or a Laswell or like, and those are cards that like some of those cards can be cards that give you like more value over time. Like Laswell, goodness knows the card gives you crazy value over time, even as just like
Yeah.
a generic ice card. There's not any like Type Zero ice synergies that I'm looking for. Um, so I
I think
really
this card could have been. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I think this could have been really strong back in like Opus 10, Opus 11. But you are correct that Ice, in particular, because it was struggling so much in those opuses, that we have a lot of continuous value now. There are a lot of Ice cards, Biblos and Vice and Lastwell. The Seymour we just saw. So you're kind of right that like the Orphan from Opus set 15, we have so much continuous value now in ice that yeah, a card that just does a one time, like if it's going to do a one time pop, it needs to be crazy good. Rufus, one of your favorite cards. So yeah,
yeah,
I think it's really missing that continuous value.
even like Kurasame, like that card does the newest Kurasame, Dull freezes 5 on entry, and they still had to say,
Hmm.
okay, fine, you also get to draw a card when he attacks. Like that's
Yeah.
that's where we're at in ice these days. And like a one time pop, sure, I guess, but like I'm not excited by it. Like it's fine, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, maybe he needed a burst. I don't know if that would have been too much, but
Oh God, that sounds like an evil burst too. No, 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 no. Don't need that. Um, all right, up next we got Squall. It's a 2-cost EX Burst Seed candidate. It's one of our heroes, category 8, of course. When Squall enters the field, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add a Cat 8 card among them to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in any order. And then for 1 and sack them, you get to play a Cat 8 character of cost 4 or less from your hand onto the field. You can only use this ability during your turn. So there's a very clear thing you're supposed to do with him, which is there's a new Laguna this set that when you play him by a Cat 8 character, you get he has two like a modal effect, but if you play him off a Cat 8 character, you get both effects. And you're
hmm
clearly meant to like tag out this Squall into the Laguna. I appreciate that they kind of said, well, you can tag out into any Cat 8 character. It's character, so if there is like a crazy 4-cost backup or anything, you can technically tag into that.
yeah,
It's kind of nice that he can technically get himself off the field because the old Squall in Ice is so good at like getting characters into play. He can tag into himself either another copy of this Squall or the 4-cost Squall. The burst is great. I think this is just kind of a slam dunk home run in almost every way, other than the fact that like Squall is going to be a pretty contested name in your Cat 8 deck.
yeah. Yeah, the only thing I'm not over the moon about is the action ability. Like, another one we talked about restrictions earlier, right? Like, would this have been too broken that if you could do it on their turn? I mean, he's just a 4K. He's pretty easy to deal with. He still has to wait a whole turn before he can even access it, which gives them a full turn to deal with him. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that needed to be restricted to your turn, but other than that, he's solid for what he does.
I do think it's funny I think a lot of the Cat 8 stuff is has some of the restrictions it has specifically to box out playing nice with Adias. Like if you look
Yeah,
at it,
I can see that.
like Adia, the Adia from Opus 22 searches on entry and cost 5 because they didn't want you playing it off of the Squall. They're like, well, by lore
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense. So we got to get Adia to not work with Squall quite so well. So she's got to cost 5. You got to give her some kind of an entry effect to make her worth the cost 5. There's an Adia this
yeah,
set spoiler cost 5. They're just like trying to make sure Squall and Adia like sort of work together but not work together too well. It's really
yeah,
funny actually. Like they're like, we can't have Squall and Adia be the best friends. Like that doesn't work. So what else can we
yeah,
do? One other thing that is nice, it is hard to get your selfie into play sometimes. Like having more access to a card that can cheat in selfie, which is a pretty decent card, it could be good. Yeah, like I said, the burst is great, the effect is great. I think this is just a pretty good card all the way around. Also, the art is fantastic. This is one of the best looking Squalls in the entire game.
hmm
I don't dislike Gen Kobayashi's art. His Squall and his Cipher just did not do it for me.
yeah.
This
That's
is what
fair.
I picture Squall as. Like this.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a really good representation of him.
Up next, we have our first Digimon card. This is
Yeah.
Moomba. Um, so you can.
I love that you can see Poo Poo in the background there, shooting off into the
Oh yeah,
sky.
that is a
That's
little
cool.
poop. Yeah. So you can dull 2 active add 8 characters or forwards instead of paying CP cost. Choose a forward. If it's dull or has received damage, break it. Um, First of all, I just love the wording on this card. Choose a forward if it's dull or has received damage, break it.
Yeah.
Again, it means that you can like dull it, choose it and then like dull it on the stack or damage it on the stack. It doesn't have to like
Yeah.
already be have that, which just
They can't
it's
activate it to avoid, to validate the choosing because, yeah, it's just choose a forward.
there's like a decent number of things that, like when you cast a summon, dull it forward like that. Like there's like the old Terra legend that does that. There's a Renoa this set that
hmm
does it. So the fact that you can just always choose the forward and then say, well, I'll figure out how to dull it later, like that's so nice. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of ways to get 2 Cat 8 forwards into play. Like it's a really common thing. There's no the ones last set that had the same casting alternate cost all only let you do that during your turn. This one does not have that restriction. So if you go like Squall play selfie, pass, and then they go, okay, I'm going to play this, I'm going to attack, you can still go, okay, dull my Squall, my selfie, cast Moomba for free, kill your thing. Like that's like really
Yeah.
cool. I just think this card's really solid all the way around. Like I've always liked this, like choose a dull forward and break it, especially when it's this cheap and literally costing
Yeah. You
0
want the
is
cheap stuff.
like yeah, costing 0 is as cheap as it can possibly get. There's some other synergies later on we can talk about with this card as well. Um, and the art is great. Like Ruby Asami just has some of the best art in the entire game. I
Yeah.
love the way the border works, where it like kind of fades off around the edges. Like she just has, or I think Ruby. I'm gonna assume Ruby's a woman, but she has just such a cool way of like having fun with the way the cards and their borders are. She's like the only one that experiments with that very consistently. So I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well said.
Laguna. So this is the
Laguna. Laguna.
This is the Laguna that's kind of meant to be played with Squall. So Marksman, Cat 8, 8k power, enters the field, choose one of the two. If you enter due to Squall, choose two of two. Choose a dull forward and break it, or your opponent discards a card. It's kind of like Snow from last set, except, shifted to work within his own
Yeah.
category. I think he's a lot worse than Snow. I think that Snow giving card draw was a lot better than breaking a dull forward usually.
Hmm.
Um,
Is there any other Squall he can come in off of, or is it just the one from this set?
the Opus 22 one plays a Cat 8 for free every turn at
Okay.
start of combat. It's Opus 22 start of combat, play a Cat 8 forward from your hand of cost 4 or less for free. Um, and it's like he's fine, and there's not a lot of competition for Lagunas ultimately. Like,
Yeah.
so you might still play it just to have a copy of Laguna, like just as a card that does something. Art is fantastic. The effect is fine, but again, we talked about like with Sid Alstein, like a one-time
Yeah.
effect just like doesn't really do it for me in Ice anymore. It's like as a generic Ice
Well, and
card.
I
So
think you have to get this for free, right? Like you don't want to pay for one of those effects.
yeah, like if you think about that, like again, we have so many upgrades on Opus One Sarah at this point. We're 27 sets on.
Hmm.
We don't need a worse Opus One Sarah.
Yeah.
So Reaper. This is Opus or category 14 standard unit. When it enters the field, choose a forward, deal it half its damage equal to half its power, rounded up. Ice and sack it, choose a forward, deal it damage equal to half its power, rounded up. This is like an old ice effect. Like I think like there's
Right?
the what is it, Lich that
What
did
was
this?
it? It wasn't Mateus.
It was
Yeah, the
Lich,
Lich. That's what it was.
and I think there's a Moomba that did this as well. Or no, Moomba
And there
did.
was there used to be an old board wipe, Genesis Avatar. He would like deal half their power to the board, and people would flicker that with Renoa, and then he'd come in and do the other half, and then take them out.
Yeah. It's kind of neat if you could ever line up two of these. I didn't actually think about that until like it's funny because like I actually was like Lich with Realm as a double cast was like a thing that like I was like, ooh, that's kind of cute. You can do that.
Uh-huh.
Um, I really don't know what else you're supposed to do with this, and like I don't like finding two backups to get a board wipe doesn't seem that good to me. But maybe there's like a situation where it's like, well, now it makes it very difficult for your opponent to ever commit to like attacking if there's a chance their forwards could take damage because then I don't know. It doesn't excite me. Maybe there's like an ice water deck because like Witch does 7. There's like nothing that's going to live Witch plus Reaper. Maybe that's like what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this is probably just not quite good enough to see play.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have, instead of the dull symbol, what if you could just sack it to do the second effect? And if that's too powerful to do it for free, what if it was like, okay, you still pay an ice, but you don't have to dull it. So you could literally enter it, hit it for half, immediately sack it, boom, finish it for the other half. Like I think that would have been a little more interesting. I don't even know if that would have been good enough, but yeah, the fact that you have to wait a whole turn, like it can't really synergize with itself, so
They probably would have to make it like ice. I think like they probably make it like 3 ice. I would imagine. Like I'm trying to think like what the cost would be on that for like a common standard
yeah.
unit backup because like there is a lot of standard unit support ultimately. So like I think it
True.
would have to be like 3 ice for that to do that. Where it'd be like because then it'd be like 5 CP to kill something, which to kill anything, which would be like a pretty big deviation on what standard units have been able to do historically. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it would have to cost, but like I'm not sure. Yeah. Renoa. This is the Cat 8 summon support I was talking about. She is a 3 cost DFF category 8 resistance fighter. When she enters the field, search for a Cat 8 summon, and then when you cast a Cat 8 summon, choose a character opponent controls, dull it and freeze it. Also a special in Vega Blast, choose 2 characters, dull freeze them for S plus ice. Again, I don't think that they needed the ice on Vega Blast. I think that like just
Yeah.
um,
It could have just been the special.
if your opponent's going to ditch Renoa to do this, they should probably be able to do this as many times as they want and dull freeze 2 characters on each of them. But whatever, fair enough. I like how it plays the Moomba. You can cast this searches Moomba. If you have another Cat 8 character, then you dull both of them. You play the Moomba. Moomba chooses its target. Renoa dull freezes it, and then the Moomba kills it. Like that's like a really cool play
Yeah.
pattern. Plays. It's kind of cute. This can search Eden potentially if you have like a couple of Cat 8 characters. You can then search like this 8 cost summon that actually doesn't cost 8. That then kills 2 things, and then you dull freeze a backup. That's kind of neat. I don't know that that's going to make Eden more playable than it is, but like it definitely doesn't hurt. kind of feel like she could have a burst and probably not be over the top. There's the other Cat 8
Yeah.
summons are just terrible, by the way. Like none of them are playable.
Yeah,
Um,
fully agreed. I also I think she could have had 7,000 power. Like 5 just feels so. I know like Lulu and Terra and these other kind of like summon type cards tend to have 5,000 power, but in Renoa's case, I think she could have gotten away with 7,000. But I do love that Angelo is on the art as he should be.
yeah, I don't know. I don't put that much stock in the power anymore, especially in ice. Like, they're not blocking her. Like, sure, I guess she'll die to Brynhilder, but like, so what? She'll die
Yeah,
to something anyway. Like, they're gonna Brynhilder something. Like, you're gonna have plenty. There's plenty of cards in this set that they're gonna want to Brynhilder more than this. Trust me.
yeah.
Which I think might be coming up just after this, to be quite honest. Oh nope, not quite this one. So this is Rainy, 3 cost, Windhill resident from Cat 8. When she enters the field, choose one of the following two: either search for Laguna, or if you control Laguna, pay 2 ice and 1. If you do, search for any Squall, play it to the field.
Ooh, no restriction.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it's like, man, are they gonna print like an 8 cost Squall in the future? And then
Right, yeah, I
especially,
get the Super Squall.
yeah, I mean, the biggest issue with this card just is that there are no good Lagunas, really.
Hmm.
I guess like the best thing, like this is the best like of like the Opus 13 Laguna now. Like this is like the best support card that could ever want because it
Yeah,
either can search for the Laguna or there's maybe even a world. I forget how Laguna worked, but like I think you got the bonus effect on attack if you had the Squall, so then you could play
if you
this.
have a Squall on field, yeah.
So I think you could like play the Laguna, get his entry effect, and then like on like the next turn you could play her, discard an ice card, and then go get Squall and play Squall from the deck, the Squall backup. And then all of a sudden your Laguna gets like his second effect too. Like that could be kind of neat. Um but like in general, that's like the biggest hang up on this card. If they ever print a Laguna backup, this card gets so much better.
Yeah. I really wish this had a burst, and maybe they didn't want you playing something to the field with the second effect, but they could have restricted it to just the first one. Like, if it's so specific that it only gets one character named Laguna, like, I think that could have had a burst on it.
The second effect killed the burst on this card. There's
Yeah, I
no
know.
chance
Yeah,
they're gonna.
they needed to separate it, but
There's not a great way of separating it while also boxing out not searching the Laguna as well.
yeah,
Like I guess they could say like you can only activate this if you do like if you EX burst if you don't control Laguna, search for Laguna. If you control Laguna, do this. But like there's still like there's shenanigans that could be done with that I don't know if they really want to have
sure,
happen.
sure.
So I mean maybe if you do those shenanigans and go through them, you should be rewarded for it. But yeah, it really does just come down to the fact that Laguna is just not a very good name so far. There just is not a Laguna
Yeah.
that's like super exciting to play. This is the card that I thought was coming up.
I assumed as much. May I?
Go right ahead.
As the beloved Cat 6 player. So this is Locke 2CP Treasure Hunter. When Locke enters the field, your opponent draws one card, randomly discards one card. Anytime they were to discard a character due to your summons or abilities, you get to choose a character, dull, and freeze it. And then if they were to discard a summon instead, you get to draw a card. It's kind of crazy to me. Locke always gets such good cards because while I enjoyed that character in 6, I never thought Locke was like that big of a deal. But clearly, they love him in this game and they think he's the bee's knees. If you're playing a discard heavy deck, I kind of like that he forces the draw so you don't ever just play him and nothing happens. So you guarantee you get that trigger. The random discard too, even if they have 3 cards in hand, we know how much stronger the random discard is versus they get to choose and pick the best card. And then what did we mention earlier, right? It's continuous value. It's hey, if you don't get me off the field and I can keep triggering stuff from your hand, I'm gonna keep getting value off of it. So he's really, really cool. Granted, it's been a minute since I've played, so I don't know if this goes in a mono ice list. But he just seems really strong and pretty darn good payoff if you can keep making them discard.
Yes, this card's broken as hell. Like this is just like the most broken card in the history of time. Um, so the random discard is huge. 'Cause if it didn't randomly discard, you could argue that like his entry effect would allow your opponent to make their hand better, and he doesn't do
Yeah.
that. Like he is not improving your opponent's hand. He is just, basically, you know, their hand is the exact same quality before and after on average, right? You'll maybe occasionally snipe something really funny, like you'll snipe like an Amaterasu out of their hand, or you'll snipe like their
Hmm.
Warrior of Light. But like even if you don't, if your opponent goes does the thing you do against discard, sometimes they say, well, I cannot let you proc all your discard synergies. I'm going to just dump my hand, play everything to the field,
Yeah.
go. And Locke says, I got you. draw that top
I
card and
got
then
you
put it
one.
right in the break zone. There's no once per turn on him, like on either of these effects, which is incredible. Something that's kind of happened over time with Ice is that Weiss has gotten kind of worse and worse and worse over time. It's not that
Mm,
like Weiss himself is necessarily a bad card, but the cost of playing Weiss was you had to play the Narrow, and Narrow is
yeah.
this big 4 cost backup that's like kind of painful to get into play. And then you play the Weiss, and then your opponent discards a card, you get the Dull Freeze off of it. This just kind of does narrow Weiss without having to play 2 4 cost cards and like dump your
Yeah.
entire hand to do it. And that's huge. There's so many FF6 synergies. Searchable with Banana Sid is fantastic. You can technically recur it
Hmm.
with Edgar if you're in like a Fire Ice deck. Like there's so many ways this guy could be good. And again, you think about like the play pattern on this card. There'll be turns where you go, okay, play lock, draw, you discard, activate Gimme Cat, discard. And you like if they discard a summon, they paid for your Gimme Cat for you. If they discard a character, you get a Dull Freeze. Um, Ice is really hurting to find good card draw. So now, like, if you play against a control
Yeah,
deck,
it is.
how are you going to fight the control decks like summons and ways of interacting with you? Well, you're going to draw your way out of it now. This is like the biggest buff to Were Eye that's ever existed, as this 2 CP4 that procs Were Eye at the end of the turn while also like keeping your discard synergies alive. So now Were Eye is a card to consider in Ice again for the first time in a long time. Plays really nicely with Rufus, plays nicely with like those things, but it plays nicely with the slow stuff too. Like I said, Gimme Cat, Unalesca, all of those cards now kind of get bonus text.
Yeah. A
Biblos,
good point too. I didn't realize, yeah, it's only once per turn, or it's not once per turn. So like, yeah, if you can do multiple in one turn, that phew. Yeah, could you imagine you have this on the field with Biblos? Okay, Locke's gonna go and take out your backup. Biblos gonna take out that forward. Like, good golly.
and they can't play around it. They can't do the thing where they go empty to say, well, you're not going to dull freeze me with Biblos anymore. Like you still are going
Yeah.
to always get the value from it. He's flickerable. You can flicker this with Renoa if you want to keep proccing those discard synergies, even if your opponent goes to no cards in hand. Like it's incredible. Like I cannot believe how strong this card is for a 2 cost. Like the only
Yeah.
downside to this card I can possibly think of is that if your opponent Brynhilder's him on entry, he just says your opponent draws a card, then randomly discards a card. But even
Yeah.
that, like you do realize it wasn't that long ago that Icex were even considering the really weird Cooch Haspel. It's like both players take a card from their breaks in the hand and then discard a card because
Yeah.
it filled 2 niches for the deck. One of which was Ice didn't have recursion and Ice didn't have a way to make your opponent discard if they went empty handed. And it did both of those. This is so much better than a card that could potentially help your opponent sculpt a better hand. Like it's
Yeah.
insane how good this
I
card
was
is.
experimenting with that back, and I was still playing at that time, and that was, you know how much I played and practiced and tried to perfect discard, and that was one of its weaknesses, was that, hey man, if they play everything out, there actually becomes this point where now I have all these discard triggers and they don't do anything. So being able to force them into that, and this one's so cheap, as you pointed out, all the other versions of that, because they have tried other versions of that, but they've all been so clunky, and this one is very smooth and rewarding.
It works whether your opponent has no cards in hand. It works whether they have all the cards in their hand. Um, like if you think about how debilitating random discard is, like I have seen people turn down Thoradin bursts with Sid Waff because the random discard is so debilitating and so bad they can't consider doing it. Now imagine giving a Sid Waff trigger, but actually it's not like they don't also get to search for the best card in their deck. They just get a random draw instead. Like
Yeah.
it's wild how strong this card is.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
curious to see it in action. I want to see it with some Unalesca triggers.
oh my god, yeah, your opponent has the only I guess other downside is it does not work how you want to with a card like Kurasame because
Yeah.
it is one big trigger or what like one
Or yeah, it
discard.
doesn't count each individual discard.
Yeah, so you don't get like you can't go like Kurasame, lock Kurasame, dull freeze 5 things and draw a card.
If only.
Oh god, imagine doing that to like a Chaos Arc player, and then all of a sudden you get to just
Hmm.
draw like 6 cards because of it. Oh my god, that would be
I
so
would
fun.
enjoy that.
Um, it does work better with Theodore than you would think though, because like if they only have like 2 cards with when Theodore comes in, Theodore is stack it where they do the discard one first and the discard two, and you still get 2 triggers off of it. Like man, it just does so much. So yeah, I love this card. Well,
Yep.
I say I love this card. We'll see how I feel about this card towards the end of the set. I think
Yeah,
it is
that's a good one
very
to end on
strong.
with ice.
Yeah, I think that is the last one. Yeah, we should be moving on to wind next. Yeah, ice got some really crazy stuff this set. I think, like I said, the Kefka I think
Yeah.
is just the coolest. One of the coolest cards they've ever printed. Lock is so strong. Seymour is very powerful. I think Moomba is a card that could see some play. I think some of the Cat 8 stuff is interesting and changes the dynamic of that deck, which is really good. Yeah, no, I don't have that many notes. I think they killed it on the ice stuff this set.
Absolutely.
Don't go anywhere though, because in the near future we will have a wind set review.
See you then. Bye.